Check this battery out. This is a 4,500 milliamp 6S LiPo from Ovonic. And this is my 7-inch long-range freestyle FPV drone. I really don't use this thing much. It's kind of become one of those drones that just kind of sits on my wall. The majority of the flying that I typically do is with Cinewhoops. But now that I have this beast of a 6S battery, I've actually been flying this drone quite a bit. So I use Ovonic batteries on a few of my quads, mainly because they're some of the best budget-friendly and quality LiPos that I've been able to find. If you search LiPo battery on Amazon, I'm pretty sure that these are the first ones that will pop up. I don't typically like ordering parts from Amazon, but these are literally like the only exception. So let's take a look at this one. This is a pretty big battery, and it's intended for larger FPV drones like this, maybe a Cinelifter, and of course you could use it on remote control planes and helicopters. I've flown this drone with lithium-ion batteries where I'm able to get 20 minutes or more, but I just don't have the same punch-out that LiPos have. If you've ever flown a lithium-ion battery, you know how it compares to a LiPo. It just doesn't have the same amount of power. And honestly, ever since building this quad, I've wanted to try out a large LiPo like this just to see how it performs and to see what kind of flight time I can get. So like I mentioned, this is the 6S LiPo, and it is a high discharge LiPo with a 100C rating, so pretty high output. I looked around online, and a lot of the 4,500 milliamp LiPos that were similar to this, I found had a much lower discharge rating. There was a couple that had about 100, but most of them were around like 60C or so. The battery comes with this type of connector. This is an AS150, I believe, and this connects to an XT90 cable. The cable is pretty long, so I actually ended up removing the XT90 off of that and just putting an XT60 on the other end, since that's what I have on my drone. You'll also have a balance lead right underneath the power cable. The dimensions of this battery are 150 millimeters long, 50 millimeters tall, and then 45 millimeters wide. And the battery weighs about 680 grams. So pretty heavy. So this is the setup that I used in the flight footage you're about to see. Got the battery on the back here. This is an RDQ Source 1 V3 7-inch dead cat frame, and then I have a custom GoPro mount up front, and it fits this 4,500 milliamp battery perfectly. In my initial test, I was testing it above a field, and I ended up getting like 15-minute flight times, and that was with some light freestyle, mostly cruising, but I did some light freestyle just to test it out, and I was very surprised with how it performed. So I actually ended up taking this drone to the beach the next day at night, and I got some pretty cool long-range flight footage. So that's the flight footage you're about to see. This is the setup, full-size GoPro, 4,500 milliamp battery, and yeah. Obviously, the easier you take it on a battery like this, the longer it's gonna last. If you've ever flown a long-range drone like this with a lithium-ion battery, it feels a lot like that since the drone is so heavy, but at the same time, this is a LiPo, so you do have the ability to throttle up if you need it. And that's where I prefer a battery like this, because with a lithium ion, you're not gonna have that throttle response. It's gonna be a little more floaty, whereas this does feel floaty, but that's just because of the weight. And then when you add in the high discharge of this LiPo, you are able to get some nice thrust. A couple other quick things that I like about this battery. It's 99.9 watt hours, which is under the TSA's 100 watt hour limit. If you have a LiPo like this that is over 100 watts, you will need to get airline approval before taking this on a plane. But since this one is just under 100, you can take this on a plane with all of your other smaller LiPos like this. Another quick thing that I've found myself using this battery for is my portable charger. This is the Toolkit RC M9, and this is capable of 6S input. I have a whole review on this. I'll leave a link to that down in the description, but this is pretty much my go-to portable charger. And since it's capable of 6S input, I started taking this around with me instead of the 4S 4000 milliamp battery I was taking, and I am getting a little bit more juice out of this, which is nice. Usually I'll only use this if, say, a project pops up. Like a lot of the real estate gigs that I get, they do pop up like the day before or day of sometimes, and having a portable charger with me has helped a lot. So getting a little bit of extra juice out of this for those smaller batteries really does help. So that's going to do it for this video. I've been a fan of Ovonic LiPos, especially when I was first getting into FPV, mainly because they're on Amazon and most of them have 2-day prime shipping. Plus, they're one of the most affordable, budget-friendly LiPos out there. I wish I could vouch for the smaller LiPos that they make, since I know a lot of my subscribers are here for the Cinewhip work that I do, but judging from the quality of all these other Ovonic LiPos that I've tried, the smaller ones will probably be just as good. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, leave the video a like, and if you have any questions about this LiPo, leave a comment down below.